Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining today's live session. I'm Nandan, the team lead and full stack developer, and today we are starting with an exciting journey into JavaScript, the language that powers almost everything you interact with on the internet. Think about this for a second. Every click, every animation, every interactive website, every mobile or web app you have ever used, none of it works without JavaScript. It is really the brain inside the browser. I know many of you are beginners or exploring programming for the first time, and that's perfect. Today is not about memorizing the code, it's about understanding how JavaScript thinks and talks to the browser. By the end of this session, you'll write the very first line of JavaScript and actually see it change the web page in real time. So stay curious, relax, and let's have fun together learning. Now, let's imagine walking into a workshop or a lab full of machines, tools, electronics, and gadgets. In the physical workshop, machines need instruction. In the digital world, our machines are variables, arrays, functions, and the language that gives them instruction is JavaScript. And just like you need to power on a machine, JavaScript also needs a place to run, like the browser's console or online editors. Today, we'll use VS Code for a hands-on feature. So let's get started. So in VS Code, I'll create the very first file. So I'll create a just starting, let's say a hello world. Yeah. So over here, I'll just write my first line of code, that is hello world. Yeah. Now let's print this to the console. So I'll just go over here. I'll click on this terminal. Now to run this particular file, the command that I use is node and the file name. So that is node hello.js. And yes, it has printed hello world to the console. So console.log is a JavaScript inbuilt method to print anything to the terminal. So in place of hello world, let's say I had learning JavaScript. So that is learning JavaScript is fun. So it has prompted is fun also. Let's print that. So to run it again, the same command node hello.js. And yes, it has printed learning JavaScript is fun. So let's move to the next this thing. Uh, Now variables in JavaScript, you can imagine variables as labeled boxes. So in the lab, we have many equipments. So in a particular workshop, we have many like tools like hammers, we have screwdrivers. So each we have to label them separately. Similarly, in JavaScript, variables are labeled boxes. So in JavaScript, we have three types of this thing ways to initialize variables. That is by keywords where, let, and const. Where and let uh, ways of defining variables allow you to change the particular variable definition. So let's say I define a variable a as some hello world. I can redefine this now. So let's say I want to change the string to just hello. So I can do this over here. And if I console.log over here, I will run this code. And yes, it has printed hello. Similarly with let, I can redefine it again. So I'll define another variable with let. And I want to redefine this to, again, let's say hello. And yeah, I've saved this and I run this program again. It will print hello. Constant, the term const is used to define any constants. So let's say I have some constant in my application. Let's say the value of pi, which will not change anytime. So those types of values I can store using const. So let me just save this. So let's define this text hello world using const. And now what I'm doing is I'm trying to redefine the variable a with which is defined using const to some other string. Let's see what if this is allowed. So I will just rerun this. And yes, it gives me an error saying assignment to constant variable is not allowed since constants cannot be reassigned. Also, I would like to tell you the difference between where and let over here. So let me also just give you a demo on that. So I will create another file. Just where.js. Yeah, and let's look at an example over here. I will create a function over here. Let's say function demo mhm, where x is equal. Yeah. So this is my function. Let's run this code. Mhm. Yes. So over here, the value of x inside the function. Oh, I've not printed the value of x. Yes. Mhm. Let me just run it again. Yes. So the value of x inside this function demo is 10. Now what I'm doing is I've defined one if statement wherein I'm changing the value of x. I'm actually defining another variable with x and I'm initializing it to 20. So I'm printing the whatever is the value of x over here. So that is 20. But as you can see, after this if statement, my value of x is 20. So it has actually changed the global variable over here. Now let's do the same for let also. Yeah. Yes. So this variable is defined using let. Here the value is 10. But now in my if statement, I try to redefine it with 20. So it prints 20 inside the if block. But as you can see, the value of x outside this if statement is 10. So over here, we can see that let is flop scope basically. So yeah. Yeah. So also let me, since I've defined a function over here, let me also tell you about functions over here. So functions are basically a piece of code that we can actually reuse in our application. So now this particular code, I didn't have to rewrite it for let's say over here in place of 10, I can also pass in some other variables. So I will just take an input over here. A, and in place of this 10, I will put it as A. Here, let me put it as A to 2. Yeah. And now I can reuse this function many times. So I don't have to rewrite the code actually. So let me just use it for values 10, 20, 30, and 50. Let's just try this. Yes. So as you can see, it has printed these numbers and I didn't have to rewrite this piece of code. So actually, if I had not used a function, I would have to rewrite this code 5 times or n number of times, how many times I wanted to print this. But instead, what I did is I wrote this inside a function and I just reused this piece of code. So that way functions are very useful in programming. Also over here, what I've done is I've used if statement. So if is basically a statement where we check if a particular condition is either true or false. If that particular condition is true, it enters into this if statement and executes whatever is inside this. So over here, by default, I'd set it as true. But let's say I want this console to be printed only if the value of A is 10. So I would, instead of this, what I would put is A is equal to 10. I would just put this check over here. And now it will print this console only for the value when A is 10. So let's try this. Yeah. So as you can see, it has entered the inside the if block only when the value is 10. Otherwise, it is not printing. Yeah. Also, there is in if there is another there is also else, which is if not this particular condition, then you can execute this. So kind of like a default one. So let's say console.log. I will just say value is not 10. I'll just console this. Yeah, as you can see, when the value is not 10, it prints the else block. Whatever code is there in the else block is executed when the value of A is not 10. Also in if else, there is another else if. So if the first condition is not satisfied, then there is else if. So I can check another condition. So let's say if A is 20, then it is this condition. Let's say console.log. Let's say value is 20. Yeah. So I've put three conditions here. First, it checks if my value is 10. If it is not 10, then it will check if my value is 20. If it is not 20, then it will print this default one saying value is not 10. I'll add another this thing over here in the string value is not 10 or 20. Yeah. Let me just run this code. Yes. So as you can see, when the value is 20, it prints this else if function block, code block. When my value is not 10 or 20, it prints this, the default else. So this was it for functions and also variable definitions using let, where, and const. Yeah. So get into a let's do a simple code now. So what I'll do is I'll create another like a JS. Yeah. And I have a problem for this actually. So yeah, we can actually do the code for a student grade calculator. So I have the problem statement with me. You just copy it. Yeah. So let's see what we have to do over here. The student grade calculator. So you are a teaching assistant at Coding Academy. You have to track the student information. You have to calculate average grades, determine letter grades, identify honor roll. That is, the student's average should be greater than 90%. And you have to generate the report cards and calculate the class statistics. So each student will have these details. So it will have the name, it will have the student ID, and the grade for 5 subjects. That is math, science, English, history, and programming. Also, the grading scale is provided. So 90 to 100 is A, 80 to 89 is B, 70 to 79 is C, and so on. The concepts used in this will be variables. So as we have discussed, the let, const, those variables. Yeah, so let me get into that. Let me define the subjects first. Let me use this auto complete. Uh, then I have to define the honor roll. Honor roll threshold should be 90. The passing grade should be 60. Yeah, that is defined. Now let's define a function to calculate the average. Here, let's define the total, which is equal to 0. Mm, then grades dot length plus plus. Here, let me just calculate the total. So what I can do is plus equal to the grades of I. Mm, yeah, and I'll just return the total of grades dot length. Yeah. So here I'm just returning the average basically. Let me also define another function to get the letter grade. Uh, my letter grade. So if average is greater than 90, let me return A. Else if the letter, if the average is greater than 80, let me return B. Else if it is greater than 70 is C. Uh, Greater than 60 is D. Else it is F. Let me return a function for the honor roll is honor roll average. Yeah. Yeah. Here what I'm doing is I've written this honor roll function. I'm taking in average as the argument over here, and I'm checking if the average is greater than equal to the honor roll threshold. So the honor roll threshold that we have set here is 60, is 90 actually. So if that particular student's average is greater than or equal to 90, then that student is a honor roll. Then passing, this function is passing. What I'm doing is the passing grade, we have set over here is 60. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just checking if the average is greater than or equal to 60. So if it is greater than or equal to 60, then that particular student has passed or else he has failed. So let me also define another for generating the report card. I'll just print the final report card here. Let me just console. Report card for student. Yeah. Let's not use this. Let's yeah. So in this generate report card function, I'm just displaying the details first. So this is the school name. I'm displaying the report card and the student details. That is the student name and the student ID. So now let's do some calculations also. So let's print for each subject and the grade for each. So let me look through it. Uh, Yeah. So what I'm doing here is now I've just looked through the subjects array. I'm taking one subject at a time and I'm just consoling the subject and what the grade is in that particular subject. Then I'm also getting the letter over here. So based on the grade, uh, whether the letter is A, B, all that, and I'm just printing it over here in the formatted grade. So whatever is the grade and whatever is the letter, the from the function determine letter grade. And here I'm just consoling the other details. So what is the average grade? What is the letter grade? The honor roll, whether the student is a honor roll, yes or no. And I'm printing over here the passing. So whether the student is passing or no. If the student is a honor roll, I'm also printing congratulations. Now let's print the other details. Let's define some students now. Let's see the first student, student one, student name, Alice Johnson. ID is this, and student grades are this. Let's calculate the average letter grade honor. Yeah, let's define student two now. Okay, let me just try to run this now. No temp.js. Okay, it didn't print anything. I must have missed my console function report. Mm, Yeah. So it has printed the statistics over here. So the school name it has printed, the report card. Now for this particular student, student one, this is the student ID. In maths, they have scored 95, science 88, English 92, history 85, and programming 90. So it has printed also the marks obtained and the letter grade what they've obtained. Then the average grade is 90 over here. Letter grade is A. And honor roll, yes, since the grade is greater than or equal to 90, it's a honor roll. And passing, yes. So it has also printed congratulations on making the honor roll. For the second student over here, the average grade is 76. So the letter grade is 6. It's an honor roll? No, because it's not greater than or equal to 90 over here, but the student is passing. And it has not printed this message that congratulations on making the honor roll. Since we have added the if condition, and only if that is satisfied, only then it will print this console. Let's also check for student 3 over here. Yeah. For student 3, that is Charlie Brown, it is printed for each subject, the marks and the letter grade. It has also printed the average grade, the letter grade, whether it's honor roll and whether it's passing. So yes, it has printed all that. And now it has printed the entire class statistics over here. So the class average is 84. Honor roll student, there was only one. And number of passing students, all these students have passed. So it has printed it as 3. So yeah, uh, in actually today's session, we learned about the basics of JavaScript fundamentals. So that is your variable definitions. What are variables in JavaScript? What are functions in JavaScript? What we use them for? What are your if-else statements in JavaScript? So yeah, this was a basic getting started on JavaScript, and I hope to see you in my next session. Thank you.